Tonight we're whipping up a taste of the tropics with a Hawaiian pulled pork meal in a jar. Hey everybody, I'm Jara with Wicked Prepared. Welcome back to our channel. If you've been with us before and if this is your first time visiting us, welcome, welcome. We do everything prepping and self-reliance, from gardening to food storage. We'd love to have you join us on our journey of preparedness so that we can help you be wicked prepared for anything that might come your way. Today, I'm making a Hawaiian pulled pork meal in a jar. You know I love my meals in a jar. They're perfect for emergency preparedness. If you seal these with an oxygen absorber, they're going to stay good on your shelf for probably 7 to 8 years at least. So they're there anytime you need them. And a really great thing about them is you only need water to prepare. And you need very little fuel to prepare them because they cook up very quickly because they use freeze-dried ingredients. They're also perfect for just everyday dinner time emergencies. If you don't have a meal planned or you get home later than you expected, you just go grab a jar off the shelf, add water, and you're good to go. Even the kids can do this. So for our Hawaiian pulled pork meal in a jar, the ingredients we're going to need are, for our freeze-dried ingredients, we have, of course, we're going to need the pulled pork. And we are going to need pineapple. That's what gives it the tropical Hawaiian flair. We've got green onions. We've got tomato powder. We've got green and red bell peppers. So plenty of veggies. And then we've got some brown sugar. Now when I make meals in a jar, I use granulated brown sugar, which is, it doesn't clump together. It's just loose, so it's has less moisture. It's much more suited to a meal in a jar. And then for seasonings, we have got some freeze-dried cilantro. We've got our Chef's Choice seasoning blend. We've got garlic powder. And we have got, this is lime juice powder. I got this from Firehouse Flavors because the recipe calls for Thrive Life's summer limeade, but that has not been available in the last year, so I don't have any. I had to get this from Firehouse Flavors. The other supplies we're going to need for our meal in a jar are a canning funnel. The canning funnel has a nice wide opening to get all our ingredients in. You're going to need your measuring cups and spoons, and of course a quart-size mason jar. That's all you need. So let's get started. The first thing we're going to add is the pulled pork. Now you can see that my pulled pork is still in its can, sealed up. The pulled pork is one of very few freeze-dried ingredients that does not have a shelf life of 1 year after opening the can. The pulled pork only stays good for, I think it's about 3 months after it's opened. So if you can't use the whole can within that time, you can freeze it to make sure that it stays good till you use it up. The other thing you can do is just put it all in jar meals, and if you seal them with an oxygen absorber, then you've got the shelf life preserved once again. But so I'm going to open this up because what I don't use today, I'm going to stick in my freezer. There we go. So we have got the freeze-dried pulled pork, and we need 2 cups of the pork. So that's the oxygen absorber that they used when they packed this up. So we've got 1 cup right off of there. Two cups of the pork. Okay, and next we've got the pineapple. We need 3/4 of a cup of the pineapple. So I'm going to measure out, that's just about what I have left in this container. See, there's a 1/2 cup. There's about a 1/4 cup. And I'll just let the kids finish what's left in that canister, and then I'll open up a new can. When you make a jar meal, you want to do a lot of shaking and tamping it down so that you have room to fit the rest of your ingredients. So we have got a 1/4 cup each of the red and green bell peppers. See, these are pretty, you've got really nice slices of green pepper. There's a 1/4 cup of those. And the red bell pepper. Now they've recently changed the red bell pepper. What they found was that most people were breaking them into smaller pieces. If you want smaller pieces of a freeze-dried food, you just have to snap it and it snaps into smaller pieces. So they found that most people were breaking these into dices. So they are now coming in dices instead of slices. But I still have these slices left from You can also press it down if you need to make more room in the jar. So we have got green onions. We're going to do a 1/4 cup of these. Oh, these smell so good. Give that a good shake. And they'll settle right down among the other ingredients. Let's see, we have got a 1/4 cup of our tomato powder that we need. So we're going to do a 1/4 cup of this. And because this is a powder, it will settle right down among these other ingredients and it won't take up any extra space in the jar, really. So we've got a tablespoon of our brown sugar. And like I mentioned earlier, this is the granulated brown sugar, or pourable. This one's called pourable brown sugar. And that way it doesn't have the moisture and stickiness that brown sugar usually has. So there's our brown sugar, 1 tablespoon. Then we need a 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder. I've got mine in my nifty little dispenser here, which I just need 2 clicks. Each click is a 1/4 teaspoon. So I don't need to measure that. Let's see. The recipe calls for a 1/2 teaspoon of peppercorn, which is a Thrive Life seasoning that they do not sell anymore, but the Chef's Choice is what I'm going to use in its place because the Chef's Choice has kind of a peppery flavor to it, so I thought it would be a good substitute. We need a 1/2 teaspoon of this. 1/2 teaspoon. Let's see, we've got the pork, the pineapple, garlic powder, peppercorn, tomato powder, brown sugar, the limeade. A teaspoon of limeade and a tablespoon of cilantro. Sorry, I've got my recipe over here, so. This has, it's not going to fit. This is the lime juice powder that I got from Firehouse Flavors. I used this in a cilantro lime rice the other night and that was delicious. So this is what I'm using until Thrive Life gets the limeade powder back in stock, which will probably happen for this summer. And then we need a tablespoon of the freeze-dried cilantro. It's also not going to fit in there. Well, so I'm going to do, a tablespoon is 3 teaspoons, so I can get 3 teaspoons out of here. 1, 2, 3. Okay. There we have it. That's everything we need for this jar meal. Now, if you wanted to save this more than just a few weeks, you would want to add an oxygen absorber. I'm just doing this for demonstration purposes, so I'm not going to add an oxygen absorber. If you've ever worked with oxygen absorbers, you will know that once you open the package, they start to absorb oxygen. So you need to use that whole package or be able to reseal it very airtight so that they don't get used up. So I usually do a whole batch, like a whole bunch of things all at once, and then I do the oxygen absorber so I can use the whole package and I don't have to seal them up. But here we go. Here is our beautiful Hawaiian pulled pork meal in a jar. We've got meat, we've got fruit, we've got vegetables, we've got seasonings. And to prepare this, you're just going to take, put it into a pan, like heat the pan a little bit, stir your ingredients around to toast them just a little. And you're going to stir in 2 1/4 cups of water. And then you're just going to simmer that until the pork has refreshed and come back to life, and it'll have a thickened sauce. And then there's a lot of things you can do with this. You can serve this over rice. I think this would be great over a coconut rice. In fact, I think I'm going to try to put together a coconut rice in a jar. But you can also serve this on a sandwich bun or in a wrap. I think this would also be really tasty on a pizza or nachos if like you're so inclined for that kind of thing. I love this kind of flavors on pizza and nachos. Thank you for joining me tonight. I hope you enjoyed learning how to make a Hawaiian pulled pork meal in a jar. If you learned something from this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss anything. I'm Jara with Wicked Prepared. Survive today, thrive tomorrow. See you later.